Item number 1, to discuss strategy with respect to threatened potential litigation if the chair so declares that an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the litigating position of the select board and town, and the chair does so declare, to discuss the matter of Five Star Building Corporation versus the town of Sherborn pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21A, 3 and 7, and Suffolk Construction versus DCAM 449 Mass 444, parentheses 2007, the library. Item number 2, meeting with town council in executive session pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21A, 3, 6, and 7, and Suffolk Construction versus DCAM 449 Mass 444, 2007, to discuss 31 Hunting Lane, 41 North Main Street, Igor Lebowski et al. Versus the town of Sherborn, land court number 21 MISC PS 000193. Parentheses HPS and 31 Hunting Lane LLC versus Sherborn Board of Appeals, Housing Appeals Committee number 2021-05, and 41 North Main Street LLC versus Sherborn Board of Appeals, Housing Appeals Committee number 2021-06. Item number 3, meeting with town council in executive session to prepare for contract negotiations with non-bargaining employee pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 38, Section 21A, 2 and 7, and Suffolk Construction versus DCAM 449 Mass 444, 2007, town administrator. And item number 4, pursuant to General Law, Chapter 38, Section 21A, 6 and 7, to consider the purchase, exchange, lease, or value of real property, where the chair declares that an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the negotiating position of the select board, and to obtain legal advice to pursuant to Suffolk Construction versus DCAM 449 Mass 444, 2007, parentheses, lease of the Sherborn Community Center. You'll need a second and a roll call vote.
Okay, before we get to that, I have one motion with respect to the agenda before we vote, which is we're going to move item 4, which is the community center lease, to first, because it's going to be just a 1 or 2 minute update, because there's been a development that Heather will explain to us that we probably won't be able to discuss that agenda item tonight. That way Heather's not waiting through the full library presentation. So that's one revision. Does anyone have any other revisions to the agenda? Okay, so I would move that we approve the executive session agenda as read, with the exception of moving item 1 to number 4. Do I have a second? George seconded. I think you're muted now, my friend.
No, I was saying I think you meant to say you're moving item 4 to number 1. You said move item 1 to number 4.
So, oh, all right. I'm glad you're on top of me. So that's good. So that's what I intend. Community
I'll second
center
that.
be first. And so Marion?
Aye.
George?
Aye.
Paul?
Aye.
And I am I as well. So I'm going to turn off. So I'm going to open the select board open session meeting of October 20th, which was scheduled to open at 8 p.m. And I would like to ask the town administrator to please read the open session agenda.
Good evening. After I read the agenda, the select board can vote to amend or approve the agenda as written. There's a public comment section, but I have not received anything from anybody that says they have a public comment to give tonight. Items can be taken out of order that are not anticipated 48 hours in advance of the meeting. Item number 1 is the consent agenda, which is the payroll warrant, the draft minutes of September 8th, 2022, and October 6th, 2022. Our next meetings are scheduled for November 3rd, November 17th, December 1st, and December 15th. Item number 2 is consideration of signing the November election warrant with Jackie Morris, the town clerk. Item 3 is the consideration of signing 3 proclamations: Gavin Lynch and the 2 brothers Derek Armando and Daniel Armando. Item number 3 is consideration of issuing the Boston Post Cane Award to Phyllis Braun, and Sue Kelliher, I believe, will be here. Item number 4 is consideration of the Mass Save Home Energy Audit Letter that Dorothea von Herter is here tonight to discuss about sending out to residents. Item number 5 is the consideration of appointments. Deb Seffring for her reappointment, another 60 days to expire on December 20th, 2022. and a new appointment, which is Steve Scrimshaw to the Conservation Commission for a term to expire on 6/15/2023, and that's to fill the slot from Jessica Jackson. Item number 6 is Greenwood Homes 40B, and the board to consider to send a request to Mass Housing for an extension to submit comments. Item number 7 is the review of the draft Verizon license renewal and a possible vote to request an extension. Attorney Bill Solomon and members of the Cable Access Advisory Committee will be here. Number 8 is the consideration of signing the town administrator contract. Number 9 is consideration of routine business, which is select board reports.
Do we have any other adjustments or items unanticipated to modify the agenda? Hearing none, do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So
So
moved.
approved.
A second?
Second.
All right, Marion,
Aye.
George,
Well,
Aye.
Paul.
Aye.
I am I as well. So the agenda is approved as read. And so do I have a motion with respect to the consent agenda?
Move approval.
second,
Marion,
aye.
George,
Aye.
Paul,
Aye.
and I am I as well. So we're on to the November election warrant. Jackie, do you want to say anything, or do we need to do anything?
No, I just, it's pretty simple. You guys need to vote the warrant as presented. And also, if you would like Diane to sign it, then you need to vote to approve her to sign it. Otherwise, early voting starts on Saturday. So
Wow.
I'll be at the office from like 9 o'clock until 2:30 or something, probably, or 3 o'clock, if you guys wanted to come, or I'm happy to come to everybody's house to get your signature. So. it
I'm in
doesn't matter
I'm in
to me.
Chicago, and I don't think I'll be back for that.
Okay.
So do we have a motion with respect to the election, signing the election
I
warrant?
move approval of the warrant and to authorize Diane Morris to sign it on behalf of the board.
Second.
Marion,
Aye.
George,
Aye.
Paul,
Aye.
and I am I as well. Thanks, Jackie.
Can I just say one more thing?
Sure.
Just early voting, I just want everybody to know, early voting does start on Saturday. The times and dates are on the town calendar. Be just Saturday, 10 to 2, and then Monday through Friday, and then Saturday again, and then Monday through Friday. But it's in the newspaper and it's on the calendar, and everybody can call the office. So, thank you.
Thank you. All right, the next item, we're signing proclamations for our 3 latest Eagle Scouts. As I think you know, I'm still the chair of the troop committee for the Boy Scouts. They're all great scouts. 2 Armando boys are from Framingham, so very interesting members of our troop, and Gavin Lynch is from Sherborn. So we're going to sign their proclamations, and Paul usually presents them. So I'm giving you a heads up, Paul. I think November 20th is going to be the Eagle Scout ceremony for these 3.
They already contacted me and I said I would go.
Good, good, good. All right, so do I have a motion with respect to signing the proclamations?
So moved.
I second for all of them.
Marion,
Aye.
George,
Aye.
Paul,
Aye.
and I am I as well. So then the next item is, I don't know, do you want to describe it? I don't see Sue. Is Sue here?
Yeah, she's away. I thought she might have been able to jump on.
Can you
so-
just summarize it? This is
Yes,
the
the
Boston
Council on
Post
Aging.
Kane Award for Phyllis Braun.
Yes, the Council on Aging is having a little party for Phyllis Braun. She is the, she's old enough to get the Boston Post Kane Award. I wanted to be careful how I said that. So there is a celebration for her on October 26th from 1 to 3 at the Pilgrim Church, where she'll be presented with the Boston Post Kane Award, and Jackie Morris and I will be doing the presenting to her. So the select board are absolutely invited to come.
So I had sent Sue a question, really. If no other member of the board was going to be there, I'd be happy to attend. I
Perfect.
know her, admire her. It would be a nice thing, I think, to have somebody from us there.
I
Well,
think that's
do it.
great.
That'd be great, Paul. Thank you for volunteering.
I'll let Sue know that you'll be there, Paul.
I will
Thanks.
try to be there as well.
Okay,
Now, do we need to vote on that?
yes,
We
you should.
Yeah, we should vote. Do I have a motion with respect to the Boston Cane Award for Phyllis Braun?
So moved.
Second,
Second,
Marion,
aye.
George,
Aye.
Paul,
Aye.
and I am I as well. Thank you very much, Diane. And the next
Yep.
one is Dorothea is here. Do you want to unmute yourself, Dorothea, and talk about the home energy audit letter?
Absolutely, Jeff. Hi, everyone. Good evening. So I'm here tonight about speaking about the kickoff letter for our bigger campaign on the home energy audit through Mass Safe. And as you all might remember, in April, we have signed this mutual understanding of cooperation with this nonprofit, All in Energy. And they will help us basically to do a bigger campaign so we get more homeowners to understand the benefits of this program offered through the utility. And they are paying essentially for printing this letter to sending to the residents, businesses, and the renters. And we will synchronize this with the banner at the split at Route 28 and 16 and have some posters in town and flyers so that we have a big push and visibility for this program. So we are hoping to get more people to understand the new benefits that Mass Safe has put out this year. That entails, of course, installation, weatherization is covered 100%, insulation 75%, and then there are steep rebates that people can take advantage of, and I hear this from residents all the time, and I know even Diane has gone with air source heat pumps. This is renewable energy system, helps to reduce fossil fuel consumption in our town, which is really, really important for bringing down emissions. So that's coming up soon. So the launch will be probably early November. And I'm hoping to get more homeowners to do this. And this will help us for also for our climate action and energy usage in town long term. I'm here to answer any questions if you have any.
I got one.
Yeah, Paul, please
Go
go.
ahead, Paul.
So if somebody is off in Oregon and has a tenant and they come in and they say, let's spend $10,000 putting new insulation in and fixing this and new windows and all that stuff. How does that work when the property owner doesn't know anything about it?
So Oregon is a different animal. So I can only speak about Massachusetts utilities because Mass Safe, as it stands, is something that is paid by basically by Massachusetts ratepayers and handled the utility.
Dorothea, I'm interrupting you, but I think you misunderstood the question. I think Paul's saying, imagine someone that owns a house in Sherborn, if I'm correct, Paul.
Sherborn.
And they're leasing a house to someone. Is that what you're asking, Paul?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
So it's a
completely
Sherborn home, but it's being occupied by a tenant right now.
Yes, exactly. How my understanding is renters can essentially connect with the Mass Safe program, and then the property owner will be notified that renters would like to have the program delivered. And Mass Safe is helping with basically setting this up. That's my understanding.
You would hope that they'd be on a better terms with the landlord that would be in touch with them, but yes.
Exactly.
I
It's,
wouldn't want a homeowner to find out because Mass Save called them up.
Yeah,
that's where, this is an interesting part. I mean, we are not essentially town where there's a whole lot of renters, right?
Yes,
But
yes.
if we are in a situation where renters like to have their landlord to deliver this program, I'm happy to have that conversation if Mass Safe cannot help.
Well, but it kind of gets at when you say you're doing a mailing,
Yeah,
it's going to the current resident then, who would be the tenant then. Is that what you're saying? It wouldn't go to the homeowner? How would you? Because we would
No,
have the
and-
homeowner, we would have their
Exactly.
address also, because they're obviously getting the property tax bill somewhere.
yeah, but my understanding is that Mass Safe doesn't have the property, they literally have to hear from the renter to set this up, right?
Okay,
It's not
Could
that
I-
the property owner will be notified, but once they have the renter on the phone, they have the information about the property owner, and then Mass Safe takes it forward. That's how I understand how this works.
okay. So someone was trying to say something. I don't know who it was.
I think Marianne.
Sorry, hi, this is Wendy Lassie.
Hi, Wendy.
Hi. So Dorothea, I could, and I'd be happy to create a list, and it will
Mhm.
go to the owner of the property, not the renter.
Mhm.
And so the owner will receive the letter. We have, out of state owners. So I can provide that to the
Ooh,
company who does the mailing if you'd like.
that's beautiful, Wendy. That's
Okay.
would be helpful. And
Okay,
I
sure.
would be interested how many property owners, landlords we have in town.
I'd probably
And,
say maybe 150
uh-huh.
about. But also people receive mail at their second homes and things like that. So
Yeah.
yeah. Okay,
It
thank
is-
you. Sorry to
Thank-
interrupt.
Thanks for volunteering, Wendy. And Paul, you've done this in other towns, I'm sure. Does that address your concern?
well, I'm concerned that renters not take action that commits the property owner to any
Yeah.
expense at all.
Yep, yep,
Renters
yep,
don't
yep.
have the authority. And I don't want somehow the town to be in a position where we're changing the law and saying that renters now can require the landlord to rebuild the property because
Yeah, no, I get it. But are you okay with this approach where we mail it to the property
I'm okay
owner
with the
now?
approach, yeah. I'm just thinking the text of the letter
Yep,
shouldn't be such that it encourages renters to incur obligations
right.
that are binding on an absent landlord.
Okay.
Mhm.
Well, we got a draft from the letter from Dorothea. Would we need to see a review of the revised letter language? Or could we delegate Paul to work with that?
Paul,
I have a couple other questions from Marion, from Sean, and from Bill Claff. But Paul, is your recommendation that because I think she sent us the draft letter,
Yes,
so we could approve the letter subject to you working with her on the language relative to property owners rather than tenants.
that's
Would that
right.
be acceptable?
Yes.
Okay, but before we do that, Marion has a question.
Mhm.
yeah, my question is this for Dorothea. It seems to me like a year and a half, maybe 2 years ago, you, the Energy and Sustainability Group, entered into an agreement with NICO, a company that does these audits. And so maybe a little confusing for homeowners. They're being contacted by NICO, as I was, and yet you're supposed to be doing it through All in Energy. What's the relation between the two?
That's a very good question, Marianne. So we did not enter a relationship with Nico, but All in Energy did. So we have partnered with All in Energy, who's a nonprofit, not a home performance contractor, but a nonprofit that connects people who are interested in Mass Safe with the home performance contractor. In our case, All in Energy has picked Nico to be the home performance contractor that is experienced in insulation and to work with older housing stock, which is the case in Sherborn. And we have started this program knowing that All Energy will be working with Nico. But now it took a little while to get this kickoff letter assembled and to have figured out who's paying for the campaign materials, like the banner, like the posters and all of that. So that took a little while. And we have started already with Nico to do these audits, including yours. But now we have basically All in Energy provided all this campaign materials so that we can have a landing page for people and a phone number where people can call, and will then first call All in Energy, and then basically be handed off to Nico. That's where all of this comes together. So we have a mutual understanding and agreement with All in Energy to be basically the facing side to the customer, and then they will be connected to Nico.
Nico only, I had an audit from Nico and as a test case. They only looked at insulation, nothing about heat pumps or anything. So you still need more information. And actually, I found members of your committee better sources of information than Nico. So, you might take another look.
Listen, this is an ongoing situation where we all are very experienced when it comes to home energy efficiency. For Sherborn homeowners to be able to get these rebates through Mass Save, they have to have a home energy audit. And for us to get them a good contractor that at least knows about insulation and can deliver a good job in that regard was our first kind of like goal. And we have had conversations with all home performance contractors, including Nico, and we decided this would be the best fit for us. It's not that you will have an expert in your home like Brad Corelius, who knows about a lot of things because he's been, doing this in his own home. You'll have an auditor who knows very well about the insulation, where to find the flaws in your house, and to deliver the most cost-effective insulation to your building. And then what we did not want is somebody who comes into your house and sells you leads to solar or air source heat pump vendors, because we want to have a control over that. We want only Sherborn homeowners to connect to these kind of vendors of renewable energy systems that we know have delivered good work to other Sherborn residents. And for us to control this is really important, because we don't want Sherbornites to be sold kind of like, something out of the spur of the moment. We want them to have a conversation with me or with somebody from the Energy Committee before they reach out to vetted vendors in our area. And I think Nico has done, and I had them here for my home energy audit, and I'm positive I've had 3 home energy audits, and I have to say that that person I had in my house was pointing out things that other people have not. So I'm positive we have a good home performance contractor here that can help a lot of residents, especially senior residents, that cannot afford to go deep into, spend a whole lot of money, but take advantage of the insulation that comes for 75% reduction or 100% of reservation. So that's the overall. I hope I explained this good enough.
Jeff, you're muted.
We have one more questioner, Bill
Yeah.
Claff. Can you identify yourself? And
Yeah, hi, this is Bill. Let me lower my hand. This is my first select board meeting, and I hope I won't be speaking out of turn. Dorothea, I mean, I have some specific information regarding air source heat pumps, which I have in my home.
Yeah,
Were installed about 5 years ago. My Mass Save vendor was, I think, Clear Result.
mhm,
And just so the people, I think this politically correct to be thinking about this nowadays, but I want to point out some practicalities. It really depends on what your primary heating source is now. For example, electric baseboard versus gas.
you're right.
I have done a thorough study of my own home and determined that it would be far more costly for me to use my air source heat pumps to heat my home than using my gas, which is my current primary fuel.
Right.
That's point number one. People not necessarily going to save money. Depends on what they're competing against. If they're going from electric baseboard, that's one thing. If they have a gas-fired furnace, as I do, not cost effective right now. And regarding the environmental impact, there's distinction between primary and secondary fuels. Electric is a secondary fuel. It's created by doing things like burning gas or coal or geothermal, various ways. Because of the inefficiency in transmission, okay, which is about a 3-to-1 ratio, unless the primary fuel used to make your electricity is less than 1/3, less than 33%, you're not doing anything better for the carbon footprint. And my current understanding from Eversource is that they use about 30% gas for electricity right now. So it's a wash if you have gas, as I do. It's a wash for using primary gas fuel at home versus using electricity. It's about the same carbon footprint. So those are kind of my quick comments on that.
Yeah, Bill, and I'm not surprised hearing this, and this is exactly why I say it depends on the individual homeowner and his and her goals, what they like to achieve. Because most of the time, if you don't pair your air source heat pump with solar, it might not be a financial very well proposition. And that's why we do not want our homeowners to encounter a home auditor who's selling them any kind of renewable energy system if there is not an analysis or somebody savvy who can help that person navigate that. So very well, good points here.
Great.
Yep.
Okay.
All right,
Definitely agree. Thank you.
Thanks, Bill. Thanks for your contribution also.
Yeah.
And so we'll go ahead and do I have a motion to approve the letter that Dorothea has drafted for homeowners, subject to Paul having final review of the language relative to being addressed to homeowners now?
So moved.
Do you have a second?
Second.
Okay, Marion,
Beautiful.
Aye.
George,
Aye.
Paul.
Say aye, and also I want to congratulate that first time ever attending a select board meeting. Congratulations.
We don't have any proclamations for that though, Paul. I am as well. So thank you, Dorothea, for preparing the letter and getting it completed with the slight revisions we discussed tonight.
Yeah, and it
next-
has been, yeah, thank you, Jeff.
We're going to keep going, Dorothea. The next are two appointments we'll do separately. The first is to appoint Deb Seifring for term to expire 12/20/2022. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All right, Marion,
Aye.
George. You could nod if you want. Paul,
Aye.
and I am as well. Thank you, Deb.
Thank you.
And then the next one is we're considering Steve Scrimshaw, who I know quite well and think highly of, as a Conservation Commission member. Our term to expire 6/15/2023, and
So moved.
okay, I like it. I like it. Second,
Second.
Marion,
Aye.
George,
Aye.
Paul.
Want to say that I've known him for years, and he's an excellent guy for the commission.
He
Aye.
is. All right, and I am as well. So thank you, Steve. I'm not sure if he's on here or not, but
I am. Thank you very much.
thank
everyone.
you, Steve. Did you want to say anything for a minute? Just introduce yourself, or?
Well, my name is Steve Scrimshaw. I served for quite a few years on the Farm Pond Advisory Committee. And, I've lived in town for 30 years or so, and I don't think I need to say more than that,
We had 3 proclamations tonight. He was our Boy Scoutmaster also for years.
Yep.
All right, great. Thank you for volunteering, Steve. The
Hey.
next agenda item is the Greenwood Homes, and do you want to lead this, Marion? We're considering an extension for submitting comments. So who wants to lead this? Are you?
I can. This is really just to approve a letter to Mass Housing to request an extension. You've already seen the letter that we sent out to board and committee heads. We've gotten a couple of preliminary comments that I won't go into tonight. But I think at our next meeting, we'll be getting a lot more input on this. The letter is to Mass Housing to request an extension from the November 4th deadline. And I recommend that we ask for a 30-day extension. We could probably live with a 15-day extension, but committees are busy. We have to get all their comments. We have to write a letter to Mass Housing.
Well, Thanksgiving intervenes in that period also.
Oh, that's right. So we're going to ask, I think Diane agrees that we should ask for 30 days. Do you agree, Diane?
I do, Marion. I think that gives us plenty of time for people to, boards and committees to not feel rushed to make any kind of comment to us.
Right.
What about 35 days, Marion?
Is that because of a specific date you're looking at, Paul, or?
Yeah, with the holidays coming up in November.
I think, why would you ask for something different than 30 days? It's just a typical request. I mean, do we really need to get into an hour-long discussion about 30?
Well, the only thing I'll say is what we could consider, though, is that we don't meet again until November 3rd. I don't know what our first meeting in December is. Do we need to have a meeting before, if we're going to submit comments by whatever date we're requesting, we would have to approve those comments.
It'll be around December 2nd then. The initial deadline was November 4th. So how many days?
What's our meeting? Do you have an agenda?
We're meeting
December
December
1st.
December 1st, December 15th.
I think this is going to be pretty simple also because it's only the 4 homes right now that are on Greenwood. It's not
I mean, I'm
more
taking
than
that
that.
into consideration. It's a relatively straightforward thing, and I think we can easily do it in that deadline. So-
Okay. So I'm fine with, go ahead, Paul.
The reason why I ask is I think I've already told you all that I have a special town meeting on December 1st. So I won't, I'm trying to encourage you to have a sort of a light agenda on December 1st rather than putting something really substantive.
Well, 35 days would make a difference. That we would meet.
That's not going to change anything.
Yeah, that we would meet till 2 weeks after that.
I suspect that Jeff is going to work with me on this letter, and we can get Heather White maybe involved. This should be a relatively straightforward letter, and we'll try.
Yes,
Exactly. And Paul, you'll have plenty of time to review it before you're.
Yeah, we're not going to wait till the very end. So.
and
maybe-
I've already seen the initial input, and it's there's not much they can say because it's just 4 houses. So
Yeah.
okay, I think we'll just go with 30 days, Paul. And if we need to schedule a special session, we can do that. But we'll be able to review the documents as Marion pointed out. Diane wants to add something.
Jeff, will you be in on Monday to sign the letter?
No. I'll be in Chicago.
Oh, you're not back by then. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, not this coming Monday. I'll be a week from Monday there. So no. So can I either have you that we can vote to delegate you to sign it, or Marion's vice chair we can delegate Marion to sign it?
Yeah, I can sign it.
Why don't we do that?
Okay.
So can I move that we send the extension request letter to be signed by Marion?
Do I have a second? I guess I'll second it because Marion can't second herself.
Yeah.
So Marion,
Aye.
George,
Aye.
Paul,
Aye.
And I am I as well. Is your hand just still up, Diane? Or do you
Oh,
have
I'm
another point?
sorry. Yes, I'm sorry.
No worries, that's good, all good. So the next item, Bill Solomon's here, and our next item is potentially another extension request. We have a review of the draft Verizon lease renewal. Bill, are you
I
unmute?
am,
unmuting
yeah.
yourself? There you are.
Good. Hi, thank you. Good evening. Thanks for having me. I'll try to be brief. In the memo I provided, I put the date of November 5th, 2023 as the expiration, but of course, the expiration of the Verizon license is November 5th, 2022. As I mentioned, Verizon spent about 5 months with their new franchising team in New York, reviewing their sort of model license. They made a number of changes, but not to what I consider the paradigm issues. But because of that, they were they did not send out their draft of a license for about 5 months. So that sort of put things generally in Verizon licensing on a slower schedule. We have met with the negotiating committee. We met last Friday. We went over all the fundamental issues. I think we have a negotiating position that we think is very supportable. And with one more probably Zoom meeting, we'd be ready to sit down with Verizon. Verizon's view of cable licensing is different than Comcast. They prefer to have the license agreement agreed to before they talk the basic financial issues. And for me, that's fine as long as sufficient progress is made in a quick period of time on that license document. So I have provided, I brought with me to the last meeting, the Verizon license document. I'll be providing that to the negotiating team next week. So they'll have the Verizon license document, which I'd ask them to review together with me. And then we would provide that to Verizon. That would not include the financial terms, but frankly, the major financial term is public education and government PEG capital, because the operating support for PEG access community television is currently at 5% of the company's gross revenues. That's the maximum allowed under federal law, and that's not, can't go up, it's not going to go down. So the primary issue financially we'll be discussing is PEG access capital. We had an excellent discussion. I think I thank the chair for Jeff for offering some negotiation strong points that we hope will lead to a quick and a fair agreement on the capital dollar number that's in the interest of both parties. So with that said, I would like the board, if they would, to vote to authorize me as counsel to enter into an extension of the term of the current license to January 31st, 2023, provided the language to you, as I mentioned in my memo. For whatever reason, Verizon, I think because of legal costs, seeks to just have these extensions approved through emails back and forth. That's not a fight I think we need to have, but that's okay with me. So if the board would, after consideration, see if it would vote to authorize me to enter an extension to 2023, January 31st, preserving the rights of all parties going forward. And my hope is that in an expectation that in November and December, we will get to a final license document and agreement. And although Verizon does take time on things, potentially even sign that before the end of the year, depending on when this board meets.
No, that was a great meeting that you helped facilitate, and I appreciate your input, Bill. We'll make a motion, but do we need to sign anything, or can you just communicate with them?
Yeah, if you would just authorize me, then I'll do this, go back and forth on emails. And as I said, I would do it differently, but because they care about it a lot, and it's still to be legally binding.
Yeah,
I'm fine with that approach. So thank you.
All right, do I have a motion?
So moved.
Okay, the motion is to extend
Authorize. Bill. so it's not-
Authorize Phil to extend the agreement till January 31st. Is there a second?
Second,
Second.
Marion,
aye.
George,
Aye.
Paul,
Aye.
and I am I as well. Thanks very much, Bill. We'll be in touch.
Good, thank you very much. Have a good meeting. Bye-bye.
All right, we're gaining, you guys, we're gaining. George, did you get the two things from Chris
Yes.
Petrini? Okay, so
Yep.
the next agenda item is consideration of signing the town administrator contract.
I move that the select board appoint Jeremy Marset to the position of town administrator for a 3-year term, and further move that the select board be authorized to enter into a 3-year employment contract with Jeremy Marset pursuant to Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 41, Section 108(9).
Second.
108N, sorry.
Great,
Second.
thank you, Paul. Are there any select board comments?
No, just we've been negotiating, just to put a little, for anybody who's listening, like, we're ready to get started. We're excited. We went through the interview process and now we've agreed on a contract with him. So this is just a formality to get it going. So we're excited for Jeremy to get started.
And the contract, I don't think we mentioned, is he'll start on November 28th is the plan.
Right.
So just so people are aware. So we have a motion and a second. Marion,
Aye.
George,
Aye.
Paul,
Aye.
and I as well. And that's for both motions. We don't need to vote twice. Is that correct, Paul?
Right.
Yes.
All right, terrific.
Is he
So-
present so I can say hello to the community?
I don't see him.
I don't think Jeremy's on here.
I don't see him.
He's not.
So the only remaining agenda item is routine business select board reports. Are there any select board reports?
I just have one quick one. We kicked off a meeting last night with the school committees to start the union negotiation contracts. We have a meeting next week with the union, just to kind of set the ground rules and get that started for the year.
Thank you for representing us too, Georgia.
Yeah.
I
No
really
problem.
appreciate your time. And Marianne, do you have anything, or Paul?
I do. I have a short one too. The Energy and Sustainability Committee, as you know, it got a grant to put together a climate action and resiliency program for Sherborn. They're going to go ahead with this. They're asking that the boards in town that have an interest in this contribute a member basically to that group. And I have agreed to join that group unless someone else on select board would prefer to do it. So I'm just letting select board know that unless someone else really wants to do it, in which case I will step aside. I'm willing to join that group on behalf of the select board.
Well, I'm certainly happy to have you do it, although when Dorothea and I talked about it, I mean, they could also just present to us, I'm not sure that the select board, given how many issues we're dealing with, has to be on every team, but maybe you could be sort of advising them unofficially or something.
All right. I think it is. I mean, we're all really flat out doing other things. It's true.
Yeah,
But given the fact that the high school students last year, made a big
we
deal,
had a warrant article. We did, yes.
I think we just have to show a real commitment. And so I think it's good that a select board person be there as in whatever capacity, but I don't think it looks good for us just to get reports from them. I'd like to have
Okay.
the select board have a presence.
All right, that sounds good. So we can talk about it. I'm glad you're willing to do it, but maybe we could sort of tag team or something if you want me to attend occasionally when you're not available or something.
Sure. Sounds good.
All right. Any other select board? Do you have one, Paul?
Just a question. I'm mentioned earlier, I have a special town meeting on December 1, and I'm trying to put together my schedule for all the annual town meetings I got to cover. And I'm wondering if we can have a discussion at some point about the annual town meeting. What day is the town meeting going to occur on? When are we opening the warrant for articles? When are we closing? What?
We have a lot of that already. Diane put that together.
Jeff, you just muted yourself again.
We have a lot of that already. Diane's put a schedule for the select board through June 30th. She hasn't
Yes,
sent it
I
around
have.
yet, but it
Yeah.
includes advisory public hearings. Seems like it's a little later this year than usual. So she has a
I-
draft. She has a draft schedule that you can look at. You know,
But I think we
between-
should all discuss it amongst
And based
ourselves.
on the last number of years, I would imagine that our town meeting will be on April 25th, Tuesday.
You're absolutely right, George.
Yeah.
I mean,
I
it's
have
not too hard
actually-
to see how what the way that we've always done it. And
Yeah,
I have asked Dan Sichel what the date would be for the Saturday advisory hearings, and he said he would get back to me, and that's the only reason why I haven't circulated the draft calendar yet, because I'm
I
waiting
would
to
guess
hear
it's
from Dan.
probably the 18th or the,
I think it's
that
a
might have
week
been what I
later.
Plugged in.
yeah.
okay.
Yeah, we'll get that. Hey, everybody, we'll get that sorted out soon. I'll get that to Diane so that can go around. It'll be one of those weekends in March. We just have to sort out a couple things to finalize that.
And I'll get the draft calendar to everybody between now and the next select board meeting.
And that includes the deadline for submission of warrants and all of that.
No,
No, we
this
have to
is just-
discuss that.
Yeah, we'll have to go through that too.
Right,
Opening and closing the warrant would be on that. We have to pick those dates.
Yeah.
right, okay.
All right. Thank you, Dan. Thanks, Diane.
Yep.
I don't have any items myself. So if I don't see any other hands raised, I'd like a motion to close the meeting.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second,
Marion,
aye.
George,
Aye.
Paul,
Aye.
and I might as well. Thank you, guys.
Have a good night.
Good night.
Thank you all for a great meeting.